Hey, this is Crypto Cruise once again with Coin Financial, bringing you another crypto market update and some news. So lots been happening. I know I haven't been updating again. Yeah, been very busy, but everything's getting back on track. And again, in the past month, nothing really has happened until a few days ago, right? When everything just started spiking up. So we're gonna talk about that, where we are headed, and I will admit I was wrong about the 22-21K call. We didn't reach that at all, but everything else I was right about, right? We went all the way down to 25K. We stayed there for a little bit, and I said that was a high probability would go to 22K, but the lower probability played in went on play. The lower probability is that we didn't go to 22K. We just went back up to 30K. Okay. I'm not going to make the right call all the time. The higher probability will not play out all the time, but it will play out most of the time. That's why it's a probability, right? And I'm going to admit, like I really thought we were going to go to 22K because it was the higher probability. Can't be right all the time, but as long as you're right most of the time, you're good, right? So we're gonna talk about the where Bitcoin will be heading, higher probability, lower probability. So full disclosure, down below, just read, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Everything I do is just for educational purposes only, and just read the disclosure down below. So here we are, let's get moving. I'm gonna turn off my camera. That way I can focus more on our chart and the news and what we're gonna talk about today, okay? All right. So here we are on the Bitcoin chart. This is on the 1 hour chart. What is gonna happen in the short-term time frame? Right now we have the symmetrical triangle in play, right? If it looks like we're about to break down, right? But don't do anything yet. Wait for that confirmation, but it does have a higher probability that we are about to break down to the downside. When that happens, where is the next level? What are we looking at, right? We are going to be looking at, just zoom out, just let's see, just zoom out to the 1 day chart. And as you can see right here, where all the price action is, let us actually zoom in a little more, right? Where all the price action is, it's going to be right around the 28,000 mark, right? Right there. 28,500, around that price. So here's that symmetrical triangle that we're looking at. Almost look like a bull flag, but not quite, because it is a triangle. Bull flags are usually parallel to each other, right? Going down. It's like a downward wedge. But we'll talk about that in some other video. But that's what we're looking at right now. If this breaks to the downside, which actually has a higher probability of breaking down to the downside, we may retest the 28 level, right? Now, what happens if we actually break to the upside? If we break to the upside, where are we going? Let's go from the 1 week chart, zoom out even more. If we break to the upside, our next level is 38,000. And how did I get that? That green line right there, 38,000. Look at all those touch points in the past. There is a lot of price action there in the past. So, and on the weekly chart as well, it's looking very bullish, right? Again, the 1 hour chart earlier, that was short term. So there is a chance we can go back down to 28K, right? But there's, when we do go there, that 28K will most likely be short-lived. Once we hit 28K, we either bounce back up, which will be a good sign. And if we do bounce back up, then there's a very high probability that we can start breaking away from that 31K level and go straight to 28K. But if we break that support level, let's go back to the 1 hour. Okay, if we break that support level of 28K, we go straight back down to retest this level right here, which is around 26,500 right there. And if we zoom out to the 4 hour, you will see that kind of like a teal line right there. That is where we're gonna go if we break the 28K level to the downside. Okay, but again, that's what we're looking at in short term. Now for the really long term, like I said, you go into weekly, those are all short term. I'm talking about maybe that can happen in just a month. In the month of July, that's when we're probably going to be seeing all of that stuff. But again, short term, my longer term, this is still a bullish squeeze. We finally formed that squeeze that Ron Bollinger was talking about. We formed that squeeze on the weekly chart finally, and it's starting to spread out, which is very bullish because we are on the upper side of that Bollinger while this squeeze is starting to spread. When this spreads and create a bubble and our candle is on the upper side, guess where it goes? Towards the upper side, following that top line that's going up, right? And that's why high probability maybe in, let's say, August, September, we will see a 38K level, and then we'll analyze the chart again once we reach that. All right, so that's the short term and longer term time frame that I'm looking at. And for the news, what is happening? Why are we pumping? Again, the chart does say all of that, right? Because we broke that line. Ever since we broke that line right there, we just started pumping. As you can see, that was a huge resistant line, and we broke it and we just started pumping. Now we're seeing resistance right here, right? And this is what we're looking at, and we are about to get squeezed out of this, whether to the down or upside, right? But again, there we have a higher probability of going to the downside. Another reason why is because we had a bearish divergence here, right? If we go to the 1 day chart, let's see if there's one there as well. Actually, no, that's too far, so we'll just go zoom in more. Okay, as you can see, we're having somewhat of a bearish divergence here on the 2 hour chart, right? So it looks higher probability that we are gonna go down. Okay, now news. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the market, what's happening in the news. Let's see. All right, so the latest news right now is ETFs, right? BlackRock filed for ETF. The ETF race is just getting hotter, and BlackRock filed for a spot ETF, and now ARK Invest, right, is filing again for a spot ETF, but this time includes a surveillance sharing agreement. Okay, you can read more about that there. So pretty much everyone is trying to get the first spot ETF in the US. So that's a race, and it's only a matter of time. We're getting closer and closer, and when that happens, and it's gonna be very bullish for Bitcoin, because now the floodgates are open, and a bunch of institutional investors will be able to buy a whole lot more Bitcoin. I believe there are some institutional investors that already invested in Bitcoin, but I believe the majority are just waiting for this spot ETF. All right. And another news too, MicroStrategy buys $347 million worth of Bitcoin. Just in June 28th, right here. Let's zoom in. On June 28th, software analysis firms MicroStrategy announced that the corporate purchase of 12,333 Bitcoin, which is worth 347 million. That's another reason why Bitcoin pumped. But again, Bitcoin had already pumped when this news was released, right? The charts, when we saw that break, we already knew when we saw that break to break the resistant line, we already knew that we were going to be spiking up, right? So before this news was even released. That's why I believe in show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. This news just started getting released when we were already up here at 30K, but we already knew before we reached 30K that once we broke this resistant line right here, we're headed up to the races, right? So that's it for today. Remember, keep an eye out for this. If we can break any moment now. If we break to the downside, we're headed to 28K. And then we analyze it again and see what happens with at the 28K level, because that is a support there. So we could hang around the 28K for a little bit and see what happens. And we can analyze again if we're gonna bounce back up or break the support line and then head back down to retest the 26.5. All right, that's it for right now. I will start, I promise y'all, I will start uploading more videos, most likely on a daily basis, if not every other day. All right, again, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can get notified with all the latest update videos that I post. All right, until next time, bye.